I unmuted somebody. 108268889. You can unmute yourself and speak. I can't unmute so many people at the same time. Yes.
Okay, so sir, please, security is the act of protecting a vital information or something valuable to you. That is protected from.
Security as a noun. Is that what you are saying?
Yes,
Or
please.
security as a verb?
I'm talking about as a verb, protect the act.
Okay, that is your opinion. That is fine. Thank you very much. You lower your hand for me. The next person, who is it? Ransford, you also want to add your voice to this? Yes. When I give you the chance, please speak up quickly. Eh? Oh, Ransford is not speaking. Okay, fine. Let's take Kaba. Kaba, please speak up. Kaba, L.A. Kaba. Okay. Eneswiafe, just unmute yourself if I call your name. Eneswiafe, can you unmute yourself and speak?
Now it's the state of being free from.
The what?
It is the state of being free from danger or threat.
Generically, the state of being free from danger or threat. That is fine. None of you is wrong, actually. Let me take these few hands. Desmond, yes. Desmond.
Okay, I would say safety.
Safety. What do you mean by just safety? If it was an exam and you just told me safety is security, I'm not sure I would have given you even 2/10. No? Would that be fair? Ransford Nyako, unmute and speak up. Hey, please, let's sanitize this platform. You can't call yourself slightly used virgin. I have already told you, I am taking attendance. Maybe you want me to display it to you so that you notice how serious I am with this. Okay? Who the hell is what? Slightly what used virgin? Ransford, please speak up. Yes. Okay. Is Ransford speaking? What? Kaba, are you ready to speak now? Somebody has issues.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yes, now go
Yes,
ahead.
please.
Yes.
Can I speak?
Yes, please speak.
Security as a noun is a term used to describe how safe something is and how protected it is from unauthorized access.
Right. You have given us the whole package. Nehemiah, I'm going to allow you to speak because your name is in the scriptures. But that will be the last person to speak on the topic, and then we'll move on. Nehemiah. Oh.
Hello, sir.
Nehemiah.
Hello, sir.
I'm listening.
Okay. Security is an act. Security as a verb. It's an act of keeping guard on something valuable from getting lost or getting distracted.
Okay, what you guys have all said is correct, and there's no wrong among whatever you have said. Okay, in all of it, one word spans across. There is danger, and there's the need to ensure protection. Beautiful. Okay, what we are going to acknowledge here is this. From this diagram that I've just showed you, what you see in the image right there, In the face of danger, there's the need to provide protection. And that is what, oh, there's a lady who raised her hand. I'll let her speak eventually. It doesn't matter, don't worry. So the protection that is provided is what we refer to as security. And we're going to expand on that. But this course is introduction. So we are going to leave it open so that nobody is even wrong, as long as you have that fundamental comprehension that in the face of danger, there needs to be a protection. But we understand that this conversation is happening in the world of technology, okay? So this is not happening in the hospital. It's not happening with the Ghana police. No, this is happening in the world of technology. And it will be important for us to think in that regard. Danger, as far as technology is concerned, communication technology is concerned, and then protection in that same regard. Right. Now, computers, as you know by now, they don't do things by themselves. They don't operate in abstraction. They work based on instructions that people give them. We have this popular phrase we call garbage in, garbage out. It's no news to most of you. If you don't tell it what to do, it will not know what action to take. And so there are human beings that are involved in the whole process of engaging with technology. There's no missing link. There's the computer is not on its own, and then the human being is not on his own. Even the artificial intelligence we talk about every day now and again, there is still some human influence that cannot be taken out of context. Is that okay? So the reason why I'm throwing more emphasis on the personality, the human being here, is this. Before you can think about protection, let me give you an example. Do you have any Nigerians in our class? Is there a Nigerian amongst us? If you're a Nigerian, raise your hand. Not Nigerian, Ghana-based, a Nigerian who goes home during vacation or something and is a real proper Nigerian. Is there anyone amongst us like that out of the 108 people online? Nobody is Nigerian. I want to create a scenario for you to understand. There's none. Wow. Okay. Right. So I have several Nigerian students who come and go from time to time. The point I'm trying to drum home here is currently in the news, you will hear that there is a bit of unrest in the eastern part of Nigeria. There have been several kidnappings of people in the northern part of Nigeria. This is something we have in the news. In fact, I have met several Nigerian colleagues who will tell you that it is amazing when you work in Ghana after 8 p.m. and do whatever you like. And there's nothing wrong with that. You get a foreigner in the city of Accra at 10, 11, walking alone and nobody touches him, nothing happens to him. Such a situation cannot happen in Nigeria. Now, the point I'm trying to drum home here is this. If we compare the two settings, one of the settings is making reference to Ghana. Another setting is making reference to where? Nigeria. They are all different environments. Are you following my conversation here? They are all different environments. And so before I will be security conscious, if you are going to circle, you hold your pocket very hard. If you have a backpack on you, you put it on your breast and your chest. Is that not what you typically do? But when you get to University of Ghana campus, you walk as if the whole world is yours. It's under your feet and you are stepping on top. You hold your bag anyhow you like, etc. Because in a particular environment, you are not safe. You feel unsafe. In another environment, you feel threatened. Is that scenario making sense? If it is making sense, you can nod your head at least for me to know. Is that scenario making sense? Right. So to be able to appreciate and tackle security head on, you need to acknowledge the threat environment. It's very, very, very important. Who is a danger to me? Which services are dangerous to me? Which environment do I find myself? Am I safe here or not? If I'm not safe, what sort of attacks am I supposed to be aware of? And what type of protection do I have to provide for myself? What type of, security, what type of dangerous attacks should I expect in this particular environment? These are all among many questions that we need to find answers to and be conscious about. And so throughout the whole course, we are going to follow this particular sequence. We'll first talk about the threat environment. Once you appreciate the threat environment and all the key factors that are playing in there, it becomes necessary to now strategically plan and see how you can mitigate some of these problems. Solving a security problem typically begins with a policy. If certain policies are enshrined in certain organizations as far as technology is concerned, it helps reduce the gravity of danger that an organization becomes exposed to as far as technology is concerned. So it's very important. And then from there, we can now move on to discuss all the possible ways and means we can implement protective measures. After putting together all these planning and policy things, you will still become vulnerable. But then the exposure that you are engaged in, your level of exposure can be maintained. It can be managed. Let me put that word there. But if some of the plans and the policies are rightly put in place, there is a threshold of preventive measure that can be put in place to mitigate some things. So I don't know the organization some of you have worked in, judging from the platforms you have connected from. Some of you are in very organized organizations, let me put it that way, where you have certain structures in place. You can't do anything you like on the company computer. You have somebody who continuously remind you people about how you should receive certain emails and what to click and what not to click. They have policies that governs the space. Some of you are working in the banks. There are certain things you can't do on the network, other things you can do, certain things you trigger, and then somebody will come and tell you that please don't touch this. So this is what I want us to be thinking about. So we consider the threat environment, we consider the planning and policy measures that we need to follow, and then we proceed to protect ourselves if we have still been attacked in one form or the other. And so there are several things that we consider: cryptography, network security, access controls. You remember I mentioned that I do not have access level to certain things on the Sakai to enable you to do certain things. These are all measures that have been put in place for security reasons. Firewalls, hardening of hosts, application security, and then data protection in general. We'll try as much as possible to tackle as much as we can. This is an introductory lesson. That's why I am really taking my time. My subsequent meetings, I could put the several topics together. Some I may not even open slides, but I would literally talk about them. So in this particular first session, we talk more about the threat environment and what entails in it, what security as a terminology in itself is, and then we focus more on the people who comprise or the objects that are found in the threat environment. In this case, we have employees and ex-employees within an organization. We can talk about malware writers, traditional external hackers, etc., and how criminals also go about these things. And we'll try to distinguish between what we refer to as cyber war and cyber terror, basically. All right. So it's nothing too complicated, nothing that you shouldn't be able to adjust towards. So let's just hit the nail on the head. Right. So I have given you a clear picture of this section. The threat environment comprises several types of attackers and then attacks. These are two different things. We have attackers and then we have attack. Let me ask you a question. What would you say is the difference between a threat and an attack? Just raise your hand and then I will give you the opportunity to respond. What's the difference between threat and attack? Yes, Kaba. Yeah, Kaba, you can unmute yourself.
A threat can simply be an imminent attack, a possibility that an attack is possible to cause harm. An attack is actually an activity purposely directed to a company or a person to cause harm.
You are speaking plenty English. It's not that you are wrong either, but that is fine. Yes, Richard Kojo. When I call your name, it means I've unmuted you. Just go ahead and unmute yourself and speak. I've allowed you to.
Okay. So I said an attack is when an action has been taken,
Mm-hmm.
and a threat is an information given before the attack, before the action will be taken. Yeah.
I like your definition. It's literal translation. It's like you know exactly what you're talking about. We just borrowing some English vocabularies has given it a funny interpretation, but that is fine. That is fine. Kweku, Wendy is not going to talk again. She's pissed, eh? Yes. We have ladies in the class. Yes, I think I saw some Comfortedu and a few others. Yes.
Yes, sir. Please. Yes, sir.
Talk.
An attack is an action taken, and the threat is the intention to take that action.
You said an attack is what?
It's the real action that is taken, while the threat is the intention.
Wait, am I supposed to know that action? No, am I supposed to know that action? All right. Ernest, you have a
Yeah. So,
yeah. Here too.
A threat is something that is likely to cause a damage. Like you are likely to cause a damage or something. And an attack is like an aggressive or a violent act towards somebody or something.
Hey, Ghanaians, we have trouble. Oh. We have a problem, not trouble. We have a problem, big one. You know exactly what you're trying to say, but the expression is limiting you. The English vocabulary, no. Can a lady bail us out? There's no lady in our midst. Nobody has raised their hand as a female. We'll leave it there. Yes. Thanks for your responses. Okay. So you can simply say when there is a potential for an attack, we call it a threat. Do you agree with me? Do you agree with me? Is it a yes or no?
Yes, please. It's a yes.
No, I don't even want to use the word attack. Forgive me. That was even wrong. When there is a potential for harm to be caused, any potential for harm to be caused, generically, it doesn't matter the space, such is called a threat. Do you agree with me?
Yes, please.
Yes, the potential of a harm situation to occur. It's called a threat. Now, when there is an action that results in harm, we call it what? An attack. Are we on the same page? Right. Let me give you some news updates. Spain has equalized against Italy. Right. So that's just an update on the other side. So we need to appreciate the threat environment. We have attackers and we have attacks. If an action is going to take place to result in harm, okay, then that is going to be an attack. That action cannot happen all by itself. Somebody must have made it happen. That is why we have attackers and then we have attacks. So there are various. If you follow soccer, we have several attacking strategies that are employed by opponents. We all know that, and we have different forms of attackers which a team has to look out for. So the people who deliver the object that executes the action of an attack are who we refer to as attackers. Attack, we have already mentioned, any action that results in harm is an attack. So it has gone beyond the threat. At the threat state, it's only a potential. Great. Now, there are certain key basic security terminologies we need to acquaint ourselves. We'll come back to this attacks and then attackers. Okay, so let's just trash that one quickly. Confidentiality, integrity, and availability. These are the three main security goals. Confidentiality, simply trying to make sure that when there is a communication of information from one endpoint to the other, you know, in the field of technology, it's all about data transmission. Whether it is any medium that is being used, whether it is Wi-Fi, wireless, or it is via a network, Bluetooth, whichever means, there is a transmission of data from one endpoint to the other, even if it is from the PC to a pen drive. Any of these, there is one form of communication moving from one end to another end. Confidentiality, ensuring that there is confidentiality, simply means that there is nobody who is what do you call it, the sensitive information. It doesn't matter how sensitive the information is, we are just considering every data that is being transmitted as sensitive. But once you indicate that I am providing you security, once your operating systems for the what do you call it, developers say we are giving you security, once an antivirus software company tells you that I'm providing you with security, once a company tells you that I'm giving you this equipment to secure your network, and so I'm going to and provide you with security. Anytime they use that word security, their goal here is very simple. Three main things. They are going to ensure confidentiality, they are going to ensure integrity, they are going to ensure availability. Confidentiality, as we have clearly mentioned there, means that the people cannot read sensitive information either while it is on the computer, when it is still, or when it is traveling from one endpoint to the other. Integrity, making sure that attackers cannot change or destroy the information, whether it is still sitting on the computer or whilst it's still traveling across a particular network or a medium. Okay, so we are saying that even if the information is changed or destroyed, the receiver should be able to know that the information has been altered, and then we can restore the destroyed data in one form or the other. That is integrity. They cannot stand in isolation. And availability is an instance where we want to make sure that every information that we need is at our disposal. Legitimate people are not denied. So legitimate people have authorized access to use any information, and they are not prevented from doing so. If anything is covered under the word security as far as technology is concerned, and any of these two goals is compromised, the security is compromised. It's as simple as that. So we have compromises. You come across the slide. Like I said, I'm going to be as quick as possible. I've already mentioned this. So when a threat succeeds to cause the harm to a business, then there's a compromise. We can call all of these things incidents or breaches, as most of you have been hearing. Okay, fine. Now, once there's a compromise, you need to provide a countermeasure. The fact that there's a compromise does not mean that so are we done and dusted? What do? There must be a countermeasure. When somebody is sick, he seeks medical attention to cure the situation. Okay, so that is the focus right now. You can call countermeasures as safeguards, protections, and controls, and there are several types of them. We have the preventive ones, we have the detective ones, and then we have the corrective ones. This is plain and simple. I presume those whose hands are raised up, they made a mistake to keep their hands up. Unless you have a genuine question, keep your hands up, then I'll allow you to come in. So I'm talking about the employee and ex-employee. I'm going to be a bit quick. I mean, why would we be conscious about an employee to an organization and then an ex-employee to an organization, and why would we consider these people as threats? Can I get like 2 or 3 people to respond in this direction, and then we'll move on quickly? Why would these people be considered as threats? Yes. Just speak freely. Speak freely. Yes. Okay. Prince, I've not seen you speak in a while. Open your mouth and speak. I'm going to pick randomly. So please, it's not going to be in any particular order, whether you raise your hand first or not. Prince. Prince. Okay, let me move on to the next person. Mr. Haku, I guess I have to come back to you. Mr. Haku, Smiler. Smiler. Yes, Smiler. Am I meeting students from across the country or just D in Accra? Smiler, you're not responding. Nobody's answering my question. Was my question clear? Frederick Edu?
Hello.
I'm from as far as Eastern region.
Wow. Okay, so you are taking part in this course from there, right?
Yes, please.
We have a campus in Eastern Region. UG has a campus in Eastern Region. Okay. All right.
Yes, so they have a campus there.
Okay. Yes. So what is your response? Or you're just responding to that one?
Yeah, I think employees.
Yes, you finish. Go ahead. Employees.
Okay, employees and ex-employees are threats because they are those who can cause harm to to whatever company or institution they work with because they have inside.
Can you be specific? We want this to be as practical as possible.
I'm saying that employees
Why will an employee and ex-employee be a threat? Why?
Because they have knowledge about internal workings of the institution where they work, and they can use that knowledge to cause. Can use such knowledge to cause harm to the industry or to the institution that they work with.
Splendid. That is a very good example. Okay. Now, if you belong to an organization, you have access level credentials. You log in, you're able to get access to whatever you want to do. So you are more dangerous than anything. You can kill the system if you want to. Yes. Two more people. I'm going to call them randomly.
You mentioned my name, sir.
Frederick. Okay, proceed. Yes.
I think employees and ex-employees are seen as a threat or danger to the company because of some of them are privy to some sensitive informations that when they leak out to maybe a competitor or outside world, it can cause the company huge sums of money or severe loss of something.
Yes.
That's why they are seen as.
Yes. So you see, they are dangerous. We trust them. They even know the ins and outs of the system more than an outsider who is sitting on the back end is thinking of attacking the system. So that is what makes them really dangerous. There are several things that we need to be concerned about. There can be employee sabotage. There can be employee hacking. You know, they can be that dangerous. Okay, we can talk about financial thefts and then employee theft of intellectual property, depending on the nature of the organization. But these are all scenarios and possibilities that we need to know. Okay, some employees can even resort to extortion. Okay, we can resort to what do you call it, extortion. You know, in some cases, you see what they will do is they will use the ability to damage systems or access confidential information and extort the firm. If you don't give me this, you are in this. If you don't give me this, you are in this. We can even talk about sexual or racial harassment of other employees. They use emails displaying pornographic material. The secretary was loose once, and then the manager says, yeah. If you don't do, you tell the manager that if you don't give me this money, your wife will know. You see where the problem is. Yes, so these are realities. We need to appreciate this, but of course, we are trying to be more focused on the technology aspect of things. We can talk about internet abuses as well. All of these things are perpetrated by employees. Okay, the idea behind all of these things: downloading pirated software, exposing the company systems, and so on and so forth. They can even be careless with whatever they do. They can endanger the security of a firm through simple carelessness. They lose the laptop. This laptop is so valuable. You work for GB Foods. You are always entering data, interfacing with clients. That whole thing is on your laptop. Then you go and you leave the machine somewhere. You know, only God knows what can be done when somebody lays his hands on it. And there are several other attackers that we can talk about. So I'm very happy with your responses and what you have made mention of. That is fine. Right. So this is about employees and ex-employees. We can also talk about what we refer to as malware. Now, although employees and other internal threats can be extremely dangerous, firms must also be concerned with traditional attackers. These are traditional attackers. They use the internet to send malwares into corporations, hack into corporate computers, and do other damage. Okay, so there are so many of them. Malware simply means an evil software. just enable software. It's a software, fully blown software. But as we know of every software, it has been programmed to go and perform a deed, and nothing is going to stop or change that unless you mitigate against it. We can talk about viruses, programs that attach themselves to legitimate programs on the victims' machines, and then they spread. Sometimes, mostly, they mostly happen in emails, especially those of you who are not able to interpret the actual source of certain emails. You have never owned an iPhone, but you'll be there, they will tell you that your Apple account has expired, Amazon, etc. You click and provide your account details and you are gone. Okay. Just last week, somebody told me that his friend had lost access to his email. The email account had been hacked. I said that they should do forgotten password. They said the person who hacked it has also changed the telephone number there. So he has lost complete access to that email. It's now in the hands of a new owner. And these are challenges that people are faced with on regular basis, and must be acknowledged as well. Right. So typically, if we had time, I would have gone through with you in this source code here. As you can see, it's just a typical source code for virus that have been put together, okay, which can be executed. It's a deed. When you read the script, you notice exactly the purpose of this particular virus, but don't worry about it. It's nothing you need to memorize. There will be a lot of demos that will expose you to a lot of things, so you stand by. We have spoken about malware, we have spoken about viruses, we can also talk about worms. You've been hearing of them. Full programs that do not attach themselves to other programs. So just like viruses, they can spread via email, instant messaging, and file transfers. In addition, they can be propagated directly, jump from one computer to another. They don't need any human intervention on the receiving computer. Okay, so they are also in their own lane. We found names to give them: virus, worms, and then of course malware is a computer term. We've only borrowed the definition of these items as we know them. These viruses and softwares as we know them literally. We know these words literally. As how a worm works, how a virus also attacks the body. Right now we are dealing with a pandemic, and it's a virus infection. Right. Oh, somebody's hand was up. I was going to give the person the opportunity to talk. I guess his question has been answered. Fine. So aside from these, we have also the blended threats. So if viruses and malwares were not bad enough, there is a growing number of blended threats. And we have, in a case where you have both viruses and worms fused together, they are softwares, and that is easy to happen. The object worm and the virus, we know it cannot work together. But in computing, these two entities, objects, can work together and cause a severe harm. We have payloads as well, pieces of code that do damage. Okay, these are just code. Those ones, they are not even softwares. Okay, Anthony, let me take your question, and then let's move on.
Sorry, it's not a question. I can't see your screen.
Can the rest of you see my screen?
Yes, please, I can.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Then I guess
he has to pin it.
Yes, they have
He
to
has
pin it.
to-
I even made myself a spotlight. I don't know why they are not seeing it. Please try
I
and pin
think
it.
it's
Try
from
and
their
pin it.
network.
It's from their networking. Okay.
Yes, please.
Great. Right. So we are making progress. We'll wrap this one up very soon, and we'll talk about a few things, bring some things to perspective. So these malwares, we have them in various ways. We have non-mobile malwares. We can also talk about Trojan horse. Anybody heard of Trojan horse? Yeah. They do is, yes, they replace an existing system file, and then they will take over its name. So you put a pen drive in your machine, and then everything on the pen drive vanishes, and you don't see anything again. You see, if it vanishes, and you see a folder has turned into your folder name .exe. I mean, some of you have experienced this thing before in the past. Yes, Trojan horses, they are there, lots of them. We have mobile codes and other things. So I'll leave you to go and read on those particular ones. Now let's talk quickly and briefly about the hackers and the attackers. We need to appreciate and understand how they do their things. Right now, we are still talking about the threat environment. If you don't understand how your enemy works, how he attacks, you are not in a better position to counterattack and find a solution. So hackers are actually able to break into corporate networks. They steal confidential data, they do damage to critical infrastructure from thousands of miles away. They don't even need to have a physical presence, and that is happening. Okay, so there are several things that motivate them. Sometimes they know they will get more money. They know that, you know, sometimes they know they will get more money. There are other occasions the effects of the harm is only a byproduct of an original intent. So they were just trying to steal. The woman just screamed and said "chai," and then they shot her, but she was not part of their plans, like it happened in the bullion van situation. You see, we have similar attacks that we need to acknowledge. Okay, sometimes some people get up and just want to do petty crime. All of these things can be considered as a traditional hacking approach. So what exactly is the anatomy of a hacking? The anatomy of a hacking. Now, if you look at this diagram we have here, okay, let me give you a perspective. Now, my whole purpose here is to take you through in a manner where when you pick the slides or the textbook, you are able to flow and read ahead of any lesson or do a self study, pretty much. Okay, please make that conscious effort and do this for me. Okay, now if you look at the first stage, before a thief breaks into a home, he or she often, you know, they'll try to present a case. They will look at if they get into a neighborhood, they try to identify facilities that are vulnerable. The door knobs are not strong. They are using Chinese knobs. It can be broken. They have done their investigation. Literally what I'm saying is they look for vulnerable houses. In the same way, with this diagram that you are seeing here, we have an attacker. Now, if you look at this diagram carefully, you notice that there is a perimeter surrounding this entire space. Let me see if I can make my marker big. Is it possible? No, let me just draw here. So this is a whole perimeter, okay? This is the perimeter of this environment. They are all secured, okay? What makes them one environment here is they are all on the same local area network. I'm sure you are taking networking class simultaneously as this course is happening. You are taking a network class, right? CSIT 20 something. So yes, so you notice that the first IP, the first three octets, 128.171.17, the same thing here. It's just the last octet that is different from every one of them. So they are all on the same network. This is one environment. You have the attacker sitting right on the outside here, okay? Right on the outside here. Look at him on the laptop. Now, he explores a vulnerability in the system. So you look at this diagram carefully here. So at this point, what the attacker will do to identify a vulnerability within a network, not houses, is to probably scan all the IP addresses that are in transits, that are moving up and down, up and down, up and down. Then the attacker will now gather information about the potential victim, the houses of the potential victim, and then decide on the one which he will break into. Now, the point I'm trying to drum home here is the attacker sitting on the outside here has access to the network. So, assuming the person has stolen using phishing methods or approaches, you read a lot more when you read the text, to obtain the username and password of a legitimate user, or whoever the secret network administrator is, he probably left the connection open. So somebody sits on the outside, he sits on the wall of the person's house or the company, and he gets internet access. He uses what do you call it, Wireshark. He can trace every transmission that is happening over the network. Of course, they cannot tell exactly what is in the data that is in that are being transmitted, but they can tell which IP is moving where and which form of data is moving. So the attacker does similar thing. He will survey the whole area, identify which particular IP is vulnerable. So that is why it's the first stage. The arrow is pointing to this server here. Now, he will test it in several ways, which we will discuss later on. But if you read, you get to see a lot more of it. And every time there is a communication between one node to the another node, there is what we refer to as a handshake, all of which will be subject for discussion as far as this course is concerned. But we just want to create a picture for you to see exactly what happens. So before your Bluetooth was able to receive a file from another person's Bluetooth, before you were able to use Zender to send one file from your phone to another phone, the establishment of the connection between the two devices, the computers, the two devices that are in connection, interacted with each other like they had maps. So one person says, hello, hi, my name is this, and I'm trying to connect to you. Then the person will respond and say, oh, okay, I know you. What is your first name? Who gave you access? They will send you some pass key on your phone. If it is Bluetooth or something, then you respond. This is a way the two devices are communicating. So what the attacker is doing here is that he sits here, scans the IP addresses because he has access to this server, which is providing the internet connectivity. It goes through, so he will be tracking all the IP addresses. All of them will be coming to him. Okay, so the server here will respond back to the attacker, confirming the host on the IP of the host. Every single device on the network has a unique IP, and that is important for you to acknowledge. Once he is able to do that, then he will perform port scanning packet to identify applications that are running on this other server here. And then they'll also respond back to him and tell him all the applications that are happening, that are running. Then he will identify this IP here, this server here with his own IP. And then he will realize that this IP has a vulnerability, and then he will perform the attack on it. Okay, so they are very simple steps. The attacker will gather the information when he communicates with the server to identify who his potential attacker will be, who his potential victim will be. Then he will try to do some reconnaissance. That's the word we call it. Some of these words are too big for mouth. Before breaking into the computer. And then they will probe the packets that are designed explicitly for all of these things. And then they will elicit the replies from some of these hosts or routers. Okay, so if they are vulnerable, they will be exposed. Now, in the assignment and the task that I'll give you, some of them will be so practical, you will appreciate some of this conversation that we are having, especially if these are new, if all of these things I'm making mention of is news to you. So bear with me on that. Let me just talk about this last one, and I'll wrap it here for today. Spoofing. Spoofing is one other approach where we have attackers succeeding at whatever they want to do. So what typically happens is that the attacker, now what I need you to follow here is that all of these nodes have different IP addresses. This is 10.6.4.3. This is 128.171.17.13, and this one is also .47. Please look at them carefully. So this is the person's IP. Now, according to practice, if two devices on the same network are communicating, they must be on the same network. Aside from that, of course, there are other ways around it. Even if they are not on the same network, we should be able to identify yourself with your IP. Every server on the internet that we've connected to, there is never an instance where two computers have the same IP. And that is what identifies you. So this is the person's IP here. As he is communicating with this machine, this server here with .13 should see that the person trying to contact me is on IP 10.6.3. But that is not what happens. Instead, he goes ahead and then steals the identity of this IP here. This IP here, the 147, the 47, and then communicates to this server. Now, this server here will think that it is actually talking to the server it already knows. He thinks he's talking to this green one, the green one we have down here. The green one we have down here, okay? Meanwhile, he's not talking to that one. He's literally talking to this particular one here. So what actually is happening is that this attacker you see here has spoofed his identity by impersonating the identity of this node and talking to this particular machine, which thinks that it is talking to this machine here. Are you getting it? Are you getting the picture I'm trying to paint? How these things happen is very simple. You have been doing it. You have been using VPNs to circumvent certain services like Netflix and other platforms that they won't allow you to connect to. Then you use VPN to change your IP address. You are in Ghana, but you are in Europe. You are in Ghana, but you are in US. you are doing exactly the same thing. No difference. Is that okay? Yes, that is exactly what you are doing. That's what we have showed in this diagram here. Technically, this is what is happening behind the scenes. So throughout this particular session, I would need you to make time. Go ahead of the class, please. Like I said, your position is not so easy and simple like that. Okay? You are in a more difficult, challenging situation as a DE student. Fortunately, this time we get to engage with you. If you send messages, I'll get to know. Even if your tutor is not delivering as you expect, you can still draw my attention and I'll follow up with your coordinators, etc. But you really need to make time to read ahead. My slides usually don't make sense too much. I would recommend you rather bury yourself in the key text if you can make time for it and read the whole session, say the chapter 1. And then once you pick the slides, you realize that everything begins to make sense to you. It makes things clear. I produced 55 slides. That should tell you that the text will even be more. So permit me to leave it here. Like I said, we can't exhaust the whole topic in just one session. I hope this exposition is okay. I did not disappoint, even though it hasn't been too long. If you have any comments, questions, let me take them, and then I will gladly relieve you. Any concerns, etc., etc. I'm enabling everybody to where is it? Meeting options. You can unmute yourself and speak up, and then we'll end it. So I'm going to exit Spotlight now. Whoever talks will be the main person. Yes, I see some few hands. Only 2 hands are up. Let me hear you, John Wilfred. Please, you can unmute and speak. When I call your name, just unmute.
Please, I would like to know your email address.
My email address, I'll make it available on the Sakai site for you. But I can spell it out. M.A. Mensah. I repeat, M.A. Mensah at ug.edu.gh. M.A. Mensah. The name is Makata Mensah. Yes. This is my full name if you want to see it. That's my full name. Yes, any more questions? Just unmute. If I answer your question, you can lower your hand so that you know those who are still left there.
Yes, I want to ask a question.
Yes, proceed.
You talked about the spoofed address, and I wanted to ask that
Spoof IP address. Yes.
Yeah. Spoofed IP address. I wanted to ask the person who tries to spoof the IP address, what's the requirement for him to spoof it? Does he need a higher processing power in order to spoof the IP address, or like with any processing power, like your let's say your CPU capacity? Does it count?
Okay. Let me not cut you short. Let me provide a quick response to your question. Now, there's this account adage we say, yes. We are trying to consume the fufu with the soup. You are just consuming the soup that we need to consume the fufu, you know. Yes. You see, your interest and some adrenaline has sparked inside of you, some interest has been triggered, and you are already asking questions you're not supposed to be asking right now. But that is also fine. That is also fine. You see, let me not disappoint you. Some of you, I come across several people, like say, I want to do a research in security, media. Security is my field. I'm coming. Please hear me out. But what you would appreciate by the end of the class is that before you can even become a proper security expert, a proper hacker, your programming experience has to be on point. Else you cannot provide adequate security for an application. You cannot even expose the vulnerability of a web application. If you want to be a network security guru, you have no choice but have to learn the networking infrastructure, and the language that they write on the, say, most of the Cisco network interfaces. Now they've even taken it to the next level. Before you can even obtain a CCNA certificate, you have to write Python exams as well. So you cannot be a hacker or a proper security person if you can't code. It's fundamental. It's plain and simple. You can only be interested and be an enthusiast of security and talk about security. But when it comes to how to get the real work done, I'm sorry, you are not there yet, because you don't even understand programming language to a particular extent to be able to expose vulnerability. When we talk about database, SQL injection, when we talk about JavaScript, we can have cross-site scripting. How do you determine these vulnerabilities? And as a hacker, how do you take advantage of these vulnerabilities to do some things and steal certain information? If you can't write SQL queries, I'm sorry, you can only be interested in these things and you can get there. That's why you need to really take your programming courses very seriously. And that's why this course is only introductory. Level 200 is going to be a bit more. Okay, so you're anxious, but you have to make sure your programming, your database, you learn it well. You are anxious, but you have to make sure that your web, multimedia, and whatever, all your programming courses too, you are learning them well. One advice I will give every one of you here is this. If you came with the mentality to just get a certificate, as from my experience, most workers who join DE come forward for. I'm sorry, I'm not talking to such an audience. I'm sorry to disappoint you. But if you are one of the people who are ambitious to not just acquire a degree, but to cement yourself in the space of technology, where's my phone? Let me show you people something here. Maybe you until you see, you may not see how serious I am with some things. Oh, something just came up and has caught my attention. So let me show you something. I know that class is over, so at this point, if anybody leaves, I don't really have a problem. Just want to share a few live things with you. Yes. Where's my browser? Oh, did I close everything? Okay, it's here. Okay, so see this. Okay, so I'm coming to show you something. I'm going to share my screen. This is something that happened just today. Don't look at my other messages. I want to make sure you see the facts. You see, I don't want to fabricate stories. I didn't even store her name. Where is it? Let me scroll down. Hey, it's already going down. Okay. Let me share this with you. Take a sneak peek into my journey on WhatsApp. Now look closely. Let me. Where is it? Now look at it here. Okay. Now the person contacted me today. Do you see the today update? Right.
Yes, please.
So I am currently recruiting for computer science and computer engineering graduates for national service. Is it possible to assist with first class students list? We could contact them. My name is Jemima, talent manager for Fidelity Bank. Are you seeing that? Go to their website. They are not looking for recruits on their website. What I'm trying to draw attention to here is there are job offers. This is just one of them. This is just one of them. I have a tall list. I have ignored people. And I'm not the only faculty here they've been coming to. See, it got to the point this was just 2 months ago. Today we are in what is 06, 06, 07, just 2 months ago. I need about 10 guys. What's up with your past students? Is it that they are unavailable or they are not good enough? What I'm trying to let you understand here is if you finish IT and you are jobless, you have yourself to blame. We have tons of offers and requests for recruits ready to pay an entry job 3,000 Ghana cedis net just to me as a graduate who can really code and program and do the real deal. Not those who can provide lip service, not those who are just holding the certificate. The woman whose message I showed to you earlier on, I explained to her that she shouldn't be only expecting. I told her blank. I said what? If you wouldn't mind me asking, we equally have very, very good students who do not necessarily have first class, but second class upper. And she said, okay, then I should share all of that. This is today. They keep coming every day. They are tired of mentioning adverts and getting people to come and interview, giving them coding challenges, and they can't do anything. They will spend money to have people to organize the interview. They will get the opportunity to take the challenges, but the people end up, all of them, disappointed, and they can't recruit any one of them. What I'm trying to say here is this. You cannot be the Mark Zuckerberg who didn't finish his degree, okay, expecting a lecturer to teach you everything you need to know from every word go, your baby steps of coding. So for example, I have engaged with you and I have exposed you to the concept with which we are presenting this course. You should be motivated to now pick the key text and continue with the conversation and read on. Engage me and tell me that, say, I don't understand this particular thing. But even before you come and even ask me, have you Googled it? Have you checked YouTube? What are the other opinions that are being said about it? Is it a language barrier? Is it the English they are speaking that I don't understand? Because you need to really have the skill set. I have produced students around the time I provided this course content in 2016. I had students from the regular stream. I have students who are earning $4,000 every single month. That is just one job. When you go to their room, they have a setup just like I have here on my desk, multiple screens, and they are just coding. They don't need to leave go to anybody's house. That is one of 3 jobs. And the advantage is they can code. They know their data structures. They understand exactly what is happening and they can work in a team. They are working remotely for companies outside, not here. Are you getting what I'm trying to say here? So, especially those of you who are university graduates and have a lot of time on your hand, don't abuse it. The department offices are open almost every day. Engage with your regular student, find out what is happening. What are you missing out? Go to YouTube, go to EDX, go to Coursera. Read ahead of every single class. Your multimedia and web, whatever. Go ahead of the class. How can I also develop web application? Baby steps. Where do I begin from? You can even seek my opinion about an EDS or Coursera site. The lecture is supposed to just fill in the gaps. We give you the fundamentals. Okay. Let me give you a picture here. Technology is changing every day. GitHub has emerged. JavaScript has expanded so much now. We are doing Node.js. We were teaching people mobile computing using Android and Java. Now there is Kotlin. There is what do we call it? React Native. You can produce Flutter, etc., etc. Lots of them. I have tried and tested most of these things because I always want to be up to date so that I can update my students. Okay, I had to be 2 years brief stints in the industry, managing a team of students, a team of developers. We came up with solutions. I became a general manager after barely 12 months as an IT manager, managing a whole subsidiary. So I know exactly what I'm talking about. Providing solutions for financial institutions and so on and so forth. I have seen it. I've sat in the meetings. I have engaged with people at the very top. I have seen big money. I know exactly what I'm talking about. The challenge was that you don't have people. You don't have people. Every time I'm dealing with Indians, I'm dealing with Israelis, you have to provide applications to interface with them. Where are the Ghanaians? The problem is you don't know anything. You only want certificates. I recommended last week somebody who had a degree somebody who obtained a degree in computer, what do you call it, chemical engineering. I recommended somebody in that field who has spent his national service period to self-learn technology, self-learn data science and artificial intelligence, and even obtain some certifications. That guy went for the interview. Teaching assistants in computer science department. When we gave them the job opportunities, every one of them checking out. I met my project students in final year. IT students are telling me that, say, the programming they didn't teach us well, and they didn't teach us well. Who will teach you well? You know, who did you engage? What was your ambition when you enrolled? So I'm only psyching you guys up. I will be disappointed to see you join the unemployment class. Some of your senior colleagues, they're already working. Some of them won't get the certificates. But those of you who have opportunities, challenge yourself. Okay, go to Code Wars and sign up and see what you know and what you don't know when they're talking about recursion, programming languages. Go to the platforms. I actually advise my regular students. I'm a course advisor for the regular students. I don't know how they are managing people at distance learning, but I don't want to give you half-baked information. This advice I'm giving you, I'm giving it almost every minute, every second, because I'm on a Telegram page with my regular students who I'm assigned to as the advisor. When I engage with you, I sell this advice as well to you. I don't recall ever knowing how to program from any of my lectures in my entire academic journey. Nobody ever taught me mobile program computing or programming, Android programming. The basis was just enough for me to leverage and develop my applications. It doesn't mean I'm smarter than you. We are all equal. Maybe I'll spend 3 hours, you will spend 2 hours. But if you put your mind to it, you can get it done. The question is says, so where do I begin from? Maybe your programming fundamentals, you will got a pass. You even got an A, but you really didn't get the whole concept. Go and find another video somewhere and catch up again. And then see how you can move on from there and start learning maybe some C++. Pick it from the basics. If you need recommended textbooks, feel free to engage me like I've indicated. Send me a forum or something. I'll periodically check, shoot me an email. These are some of the things I attend to when I'm a bit distracted or can't concentrate on the work. So that is just my bit of advice to you. There are opportunities and work opportunities every minute, every second. As long as you can program, do some data science, develop an application, know how to use version control, understand your data structures, you are never going to be jobless. Right. So this was just my small advice to you. I will let these two people ask their questions. It's amazing. Almost 100 of you are still online. I don't know what I'm saying that you are interested like that. Isaac Kumachi, talk to me. Shadrach, if he's not talking, you can speak. I want to end the session. My wife is asking whether I finished my class or not. I have to go.
Your email again.
M.A. Mensa at ST. Sorry, M.A. Mensa at MA.Mensa@ug.edu.gh. I'm already getting distracted with some messages that are popping up because I opened the WhatsApp.
So please, the attendance is very important.
Yes, the attendance, they have it here. I've even downloaded it. I've downloaded attendance list. Let me open it for you to see. Even if you came in and left, they have acknowledged all of that. Unless you didn't use your name, that one I'll have a problem. Yes, if you use like the guy who says sweet whatever virgin, he's more or less like absent like that because the thing I can do about that one. So let me show you what I mean by attendance. I have it all here. It's acknowledged.
Slightly used virgin.
Slightly used what? So let me give you an evidence of your attendance. So this is your attendance. I have it all here. When everybody joined, oh geez. Let me undo this one. Let me open it in bits. When you joined, there's a timestamp. When you left, oh, you're not seeing this side of it. Let me just put it somewhere here. Do you see it?
Yes, please.
Those of you with weak connections. So I will see your IDs when you joined. when you left, when you joined, when you left, when you joined, when you left, when you joined, you left. If you play tricks on me, I will know. So I have your attendance.
So we are not seeing it.
Who can see it? Is there anybody who can see it? Can you speak up?
Yes.
Yes, I can see it.
Please.
Yes, then it's their internet. It's their internet. So I will leave it there. At least now you have evidence that I've checked attendance. I have the information. Yes. If you have answered, if I've answered your question, you can put your hands down. Prince, let's make this quick. Let's make it quick. I have to sign out. I have to disable my equipment. I have my whole rig I'm using to do the conversation and everything in my hand. You have to put them off.
Please,
Yes.
can you hear me? Please,
yes, I can hear you.
Please, regarding our assignment, will the deadline should they be on weekend or weekday?
So because your lectures are always over the weekends, I'm going to make sure you have not less than 5 days to complete an assignment. So you have to find, yes, you have to find, your quizzes will definitely happen on Saturdays and Sundays, and it will run for 48 hours. But the moment you start it, you'll be limited to a limited period of time. But yeah, but that is for the quizzes, because you all indicated that you are weekend students and not available in the weekday. So for quizzes, I'm not going to make any quiz available within the week. It's all going to be on the weekend. So you have to find a slot within the 48 hours to complete a quiz when they are published.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome.
Please,
Collins
the notification.
Collins Boache. Collins. All right, no question from him. Okay, so we'll leave it there. If nobody has anything to ask me, I hope your engagement has been fruitful and useful. Can I get an affirmation or a disappointment?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Everything is correct.
I wish you all the best. You have time on your hands. You are level 200. Let's make impact and change our lives and our world for the better. Thank you very much for your time. I'll end it here. And let's engage soon. Please discuss and let your consulate let me know when we can make up for the other miss. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'll be looking forward to hear from him. He has my contact. All right. Good night. Good night, everybody. Good night. Good night.
Bye.